Okay, hi there, everybody. I just did half a recording and now I've accidentally stopped it and I'm re-recording. So I want to give this a try because some of you have said that you missed the visual. So I'm going to do a lesson in place of this week's recorded conference. I'm going to do a lesson here so you have the visual of a person, seeing a person, and then we'll also be looking at an essay later, so you'll have that visual, or at least a paragraph from an essay. And then you have the audio of the voice. So hopefully between the audio learners and the visual learners, we can get you all in there, okay? So the focus of today, I want to focus on, and we've done some of this already. I want to focus more in depth on paragraphs and how to flesh out, fill out paragraphs, okay? So I think that this is something we might or automatically do anyway when we tell a story about something that happened to us. Okay, we were in a car accident, or we met a famous person, right? A good thing or a bad thing. We went to a wedding, all right? Something like we had a wedding ourselves, or we had a child. That's maybe a whole different field of storytelling. That's just like, I'm so happy. I'm so, it's different, I believe. So, but the point is, I think major events that we will usually talk about them in detail, and we'll usually, I think, choose automatically a kind of a point to focus on. Okay, so an example of this is my mother fractured her hip the first time in 2009. So this is going to sound like a really dark and negative story, but I think it actually has a positive aspect too. Very strong positive. We were in Hollywood on Sunset Boulevard walking, and she slipped. She was actually running across the intersection. She was 69 years old, and she slipped, lost her balance. Something happened. Next thing, she was on the ground. It all happened very quickly, like these things do. In the middle of Sunset Boulevard, so very busy, crossing at a light. She's on the ground, the light has turned green, and people start honking. I don't know if maybe some of them didn't know what was going on, the ones behind. Some of them may have just been jerks and because they did know what was going on. I don't know, but people were honking a lot. And one guy got out of his car. He looked, he saw she was there, and he said, "Get her the heck out of the road." He said another word, but I won't say it on video. So, that I thought was kind of a jerky thing to do. I was much more upset at the time. So that was happening. And then a couple of homeless guys were there. I kid you not. This isn't like, a Hallmark story. This actually happened. A couple of homeless guys were there. They came over and said, "Can we help you?" And, maybe you could be cynical and say, oh, maybe they were just wanting money. I don't know. The point is they offered to help. And we probably gave them change or money or something. I don't remember. If we had it, we probably did. It was all very fast and scary. I didn't know what was happening. They helped her up. I called 911. They held her propped up on that corner until 911 got there. And I don't know how long it was. Again, something like this happens, as you know, when something like this happens, it's very fast. It feels like, every second counts. It's like everything is really intensified. And you're just focused on, this one thing. You're laser focused. So the point of that story, of course, is that, we saw people who could have helped, who didn't, in the intersection, in their cars. Not that I know of. Maybe some called 911. But yeah, nobody got out. One did to yell at her, and then it was the homeless guys who helped. So you see, I could probably provide even more detail, like what they look like and different things that would flesh it out even more. But there's the focus, right? So to tie this in to, I was thinking about your different majors, your major areas of study. And I was thinking a lot of you are nursing majors, and just having been in hospitals, I know, I think, I'm not sure, but I think the nurses probably report to the doctors. So you might even think about this right now, like what sort of details do you supply, or would you supply to your doctor, the one you're reporting to, the one you're working for, about a patient? I think this patient might be having a heart attack because they're exhibiting these symptoms. So, if you become a lawyer, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to need to have supporting details. You're making a point in the court, right? Making a point about this person's character, and you want the supporting details. So probably any kind of field, if you become a psychologist or a social worker, the same thing. You're going to interview people, and you're going to want to know more about, okay, the depression or whatever you're asking about, okay? You're going to want supporting details, and you might report those to someone. You'll write them down. You'll give examples. So I think this is something that can be carried over into many areas of life, is my point. So most importantly, you want to focus in a paragraph. You want to have a focus, right? And then you want to explain whatever that thing is that you're focusing on. You want to explain it and or prove it and give examples and details for it, all of that stuff. Okay, the last lesson that we did, that's posted in Canvas, and we also did it as a conference, was on sentences, and how sentences can become redundant or inflated with lots of unnecessary words or extra words. And I think this happens because someone writing doesn't know their subject well enough. They don't maybe feel strongly enough about it. They're not thinking in terms of how they can go deeper, okay, deeper with details, with examples. So thinking in those terms and really knowing, researching your subject, having notes on it, and keeping that focus, and hopefully feeling some passion or at least interest in what you're writing about, okay, and that won't always happen, but hopefully you can find it if it's not there. So I'm going to ask you to pause after, not yet, go ahead and look up the Sherman Alexie essay, okay? And that was posted on Canvas, and I forget the week, but it's on there. And I don't want to get out of this screen, but it was one of the readings, Superman and Me. You can also Google it, it will come right up. It will be the first one, I think, okay? Sherman Alexie, Superman and Me. Okay, and Alexie is Alexie. It starts, I learned to read with a Superman comic book. Okay, that's the first sentence. So, I will ask you to go find that and read the second paragraph, okay? I'm going to read it here too, but I think if you can either read along with me, or if you're only on one device, just read it on your own, if you feel the visual will help you. So if you need to pause it now, you can do that. Okay. So, second paragraph, I'm going to read it and just take you through how he uses detail. I mean, I think you'll see it right off the bat, and you probably have already. My father, who is one of the few Indians who went to Catholic school on purpose, was an avid reader of westerns, spy thrillers, murder mysteries, gangster epics, basketball player biographies, and anything else he could find. Okay, so first of all, we have a clear topic sentence. This is not an academic essay. So non-academic essays like personal essays don't always follow the rules of academic essays. But this happens to have a really good topic sentence, okay? It's clear. We know it's going to be about his father reading, and he gives specific things that he read. Westerns, right? Murder mysteries, gangster epics, basketball player biographies. He gives specifics. He's specific. Now he goes on, okay, to continue with that topic sentence. He goes on to discuss more about his father's reading. He bought his books by the pound at Dutch's Pawn Shop, Goodwill, Salvation Army, and Value Village. Okay. There's also a certain rhythm to this, and we won't get into that too much, but there's a nice rhythm to the sentences. It's almost like, I've got a musical rhythm. So now he lists the specific places he bought them, right? The pawn shop, the Goodwill, Salvation Army, and Value Village. Again, he's super specific. He doesn't say the supermarket. He doesn't say the grocery store. He doesn't say, the thrift store. He says the specific ones. He doesn't say the pawn shop. He says Dutch's Pawn Shop. Okay, so specificity is really good and a way to be more detailed. When he had extra money, he bought new novels at supermarkets, convenience stores, and hospital gift shops. Okay, so now it's more general, supermarkets and all that. But that's actually a nice variation. The point here, though, is now he's continuing. Now he's talking about not only did he buy his books by the pound, but now even more information. All his extra money went to books, okay? Our house was filled with books. Nice. Okay, he does something here we've touched on. We're not going to focus on too much, but he varies the sentence length. Long sentence, short, right? So our house was filled with books. Now he goes into an explanation of that. They were stacked in crazy piles, not just piles, crazy piles, in the bathroom, bedrooms, and living room. Okay. So now he's telling us about, more about this, how the books were all over the place and in a very specific way. In a fit of unemployment-inspired creative energy, my father built a set of bookshelves and soon filled them with a random assortment of books about the Kennedy assassination, Watergate, the Vietnam War, and the entire 23-book series of the Apache Westerns. Okay. So now he goes into, more detail about this. How his father, showing more his dedication. So he buys the books. He reads all kinds of books. He buys them by the pound. He buys them at all kinds of places. Goodwill, everywhere, pawn shop. He spends his extra money on books. The house is filled with books. They're in crazy piles. And then he tells us that when he was unemployed, what did he spend his time doing? Building bookshelves and filling them with books. And again, he's specific. Kennedy assassination, Watergate, all of these specifics. Now he closes it down really nicely, concluding sentence. My father loved books, and since I loved my father with an aching devotion, I decided to love books as well. So he closes down this paragraph, wraps it up, and gives us a jumping off point for the rest of this essay, certainly for the next paragraph, his love of books, right, which is the focus of the essay. So this is not a compare-contrast essay. It's not a research essay, okay? So your paragraphs, some of the detail you'll be providing, some of the examples will be from statistics, data, facts, quotes. But it's the same idea. of keeping that focus and digging in deep, deep, deep with it. Okay? So that's what you want to do in all your paragraphs, any type of essay. Compare, contrast, and cause effect, and argument, and personal, every kind of essay you write. Okay? So, what I'm going to ask you to do, I'm going to actually assign something based on this lesson that I will put up on Canvas. What I want to do is actually have you start putting up stuff from your compare contrast essays. I usually don't do this. I usually kind of leave it up to you how fast or how slowly you want to write it. But I think it's important to attend more closely to the whole drafting process. And so I'll post the details of it in the next assignment. But I will ask you to submit by next week a certain number of paragraphs or pages, and then we'll critique each other. Okay? So good. Thank you, and I hope this was helpful to you, and have a good weekend. Bye-bye.